Jiddu Krishnamurti, Osho, two absolute titans of 20th century thought. Now, on the surface, they seem like complete polar opposites. But what if I told you their life's work actually forms this perfect, kind of stunning mirror image, a journey in reverse? Okay, let's get into it.
So this is the big paradox we're going to unpack today. It's a question that really cuts right to the heart of their philosophies. I mean, think about it. Can two fundamentally different ways of seeing the world actually lead to the same kind of wisdom in the end?
And this is our map for the whole thing. The entire incredible story is right here, encoded in this one simple chart. It shows us where they started, the paths they walked, the tools they used, and where they finally stood. So let's use it to break this whole thing down.
All right, so to really get the twist, you've got to understand the setup first. We need to go right back to where they began. And trust me, they weren't even in the same ballpark, let alone the same stadium.
First up, you have Krishnamurti. He was pretty much born into this idea of spiritual idealism. You know, the Theosophical Society basically groomed him to be this messianic world teacher. His whole world was one of unseen masters, higher cosmic planes, a reality that was built from the spirit up. And then, on the complete other side of the universe, you have Osho. His journey kicked off with what you could only call hardcore earthly realism. He was a philosophy professor, right? A total rebel, a critic of, well, pretty much everything. His focus was the ground right beneath his feet: society, psychology, the whole messy, beautiful, tangible world. So you see the picture, right? It's this total, absolute opposition. One begins up in the ethereal clouds of the ideal, the other starts with his feet planted firmly on the dusty ground of the real. They are philosophical north and south. And this is precisely where the story really gets interesting. Because from these opposite poles, something completely unexpected happens. Their paths don't just run parallel, they don't fly apart. They start to curve, to bend, and to head toward a place that I don't think either of them could have possibly foreseen.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If you start at opposite ends of the philosophical map, where do you end up? You'd think they just get further and further apart, right? Well, not even close.
Just look at this. The symmetry of this reversal is just incredible. You've got Krishnamurti, the ultimate idealist, and he spends his entire life moving toward this deep, almost forensic, psychological realism, dissecting the raw mechanics of the human mind. And Osho, the arch-realist, he does the complete opposite. He steadily moves toward a profound mystical idealism, embracing the transcendental, the celebratory, all of it.
And boom, that's the whole story in one sentence. It's like each of them walked a path that led them straight into the other guy's starting point. It's a perfect philosophical flip, a journey in reverse that completely upends what we think a spiritual path is supposed to look like.
So the big question is, how did they do this? If their destinations were reversed, what about their methods? Let's take a look at their toolkits because, as you can probably guess, they were as different as night and day.
So for Krishnamurti, it was all about the mind. His toolkit was, well, it was basically a surgeon's scalpel for the psyche. It was about this radical, choiceless observation of your own mind, a relentless, investigative inquiry into every single belief, and a final, profound detachment from everything you find, a path of pure intellect.
And Osho's toolkit? You couldn't get more different if you tried. His was a method of total, unanalyzed experience. We're talking cathartic meditations to just break through everything, a joyful surrender of the controlling mind, and a wild, all-out celebration of life itself, in all its chaotic glory. A path of the heart, for sure.
So when you boil it all down, it comes to this. Krishnamurti's entire project was to understand the self, with uncompromising clarity. Osho's was to transcend the self completely, to dissolve the ego into the cosmic ocean. Two profoundly different aims, forged by two profoundly different journeys.
And this all leads us to maybe the biggest, most critical point where they diverge. Their answer to the question of how anyone actually finds truth in the first place. And wow, the difference here is just stark. For Krishnamurti, look, you had to discover it all by yourself. Period. No guru, no book, no authority could hand it to you. But for Osho, while the walk was yours, he felt a master, a guide could be absolutely vital. Someone to point the way, to challenge you, and to show you the door you couldn't see on your own. So what you're left with is this fundamental choice they present. You know Krishnamurti's famous line,
truth is a pathless land, which basically means every single one of us has to be our own pioneer. But Osho's approach suggests that, hey, even in a pathless land, a seasoned guide who knows the terrain can make all the difference.
And this brings the question right back to your feet, doesn't it? Is the search for meaning a journey you absolutely must take in total solitude, or is wisdom found by following a light that another person holds?
So let's just quickly recap this incredible story. You've got two thinkers starting at opposite ends of the universe, idealism versus realism, two journeys that do a complete 180-degree reversal, two totally different toolkits, the sharp mind versus the open heart, and finally, two opposing views on the ultimate quest, go it alone or get a guide.
And that leaves us right here with one final big question to chew on. The story of Krishnamurti and Osho proves that a path isn't always a straight line, right? So it kind of forces you to ask yourself, in the great journey of understanding, what really matters more, where you begin or the direction you ultimately choose to walk?